This episode is brought to you by the today is Thelonious Pup. Patrons get that show, always ad-free, and access to the very often extended episode, which has a little bonus show at the end for a little treat. We get up into all kinds of trouble in there, especially when I have my co-hosts with me. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with those bonus shows. If you don't want to miss all of that, go to patreon.com/calltheline. That is patreon.com/calltheline. Become a patron of, I think it's $5 or more a month. And that's it. And that's all you got to do. And then you're supporting The Line. The Line is a podcast and everything we do across channels. Now let's do that dang show. Welcome, everybody, to The Line Has a Podcast. I am sadly alone. Jimmy Snow here. It is June 7th. It is a Saturday in 2025. And look, I'm alone. I'm all alone. And frankly, it's irresponsible of the girls to leave me in such a place because anything can happen now. Everyone knows that realistically, the way the podcast works is I am the irresponsible, boisterous, entitled white guy. And I have two wonderful, much more balanced, emotionally mature, overall, just more mature women there to sort of like, all right, Jimmy, let's wall you in a little bit. It's enough of the jokes. No, we're all kind of silly billies over here, but that's a funny way to put it. It's a lot of dick jokes. The girls are fighting, people. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Elon Musk. We're going to talk about Donald Trump and their feud. And the thing that I think a lot of us were waiting for, and I know if you go and you look at some early episodes of this podcast, as well as other things, I mean, I was predicting it for a long time that these two giant egos, there can only be one. It's like Highlander. The show is a little bit late. We had some things happening this week. Nothing could line up perfectly. And this is so you get a show at all. This is so that you actually hear stuff. And I'm sure we're going to bring it up a little bit more. But in being late, there's a negative and a positive. The positive is we have the most up-to-date information. And that most up-to-date information is getting wild. Now, by the few hours it takes between recording this and it coming out, more stuff may have happened. So we'll see. We'll see how up-to-date it still seems then. But, you know, we've got some up-to-date info, more up-to-date info. The negative side being like, I keep seeing people make my jokes. And I know they didn't get them from me, right? But I've heard on other podcasts and things, I've always loved this saying about like in a battle between my enemy and my enemy, I pray for the bullets. That kind of thing. It's obviously, I don't pray. This is very confusing coming from such a staunch atheist who makes it my entire personality. That's comments I've been getting recently. Why does Jimmy make being an atheist his entire personality? And I saw a promise actually got that today too. And both of us, I think within 24 hours, it might have even been from the same person. I don't know. But all I do know is like, you are not watching my stuff lately because, oh my God, I don't even go by Mr. Atheist anymore. I mean, if somebody recognizes me, it's like, oh yeah, sure. That's nice. That's nice. Though who's recognizing me anymore? I don't even look like him anymore. I don't even look like that guy, though I did grow my hair back out. Oh, let's just get to it, I think. And I do want to talk also, I think we're going to start with the timeline, and then I want to get to the attempt at canceling a little bit, whatever, the collective phony, what I think is phony outrage toward AOC for using the phrase, the girls are fighting. Probably going to entitle this episode that just to annoy the same people because it's, I don't know. Should we do it at the beginning or the end? The girls are fighting is great. Maybe we'll just do it here and I'll come back to it. The girls are fighting is great. And sure, people are like, well, in that scenario, the word girl is an insult, but it's not universally an insult. It's not a general insult. It's not making normalized. AOC is not sitting there going like, yeah, I'm calling them girls because being girls sucks. Like, sit there and look me in the eye and tell me you think that that's what her motivation is. It is specifically, you have these two men who wish to hyper-masculinize their own appearance to tell everybody we're the most masculine guys in the world. We represent what manhood is, even as we do everything opposite of what like being a good man would be. I mean, and these two, they both have kids. look at their relationship with their kids. And I'm just like, bro, whatever you think a man is, I don't have kids. So obviously this is the standard I'm not holding myself to at the moment. Who knows what the future will hold, but surely being a man is not being a piece of shit dad. Anyway, regardless, it is specifically that these are men who are so easily emasculated. And it's kind of why generally I try not to use the term bitch when describing a woman anymore, but I love using it to describe a man because you usually use it in the place where you can tell this is a person whose entire life is the image of being manly, of the image of being successful. Oh my God, is this not these people? They want you to buy into their success and the superiority. I mean, look at Elon Musk, who has all of the success in the world, all of the money, he has all of it. And yet still it is clearly so important to be received socially as a success, to be perceived as that success. And he clearly melts down and hates anybody who doesn't perceive him, which is why we're in this pickle in the first place. Because it all kind of tracks back to just like his change, his turn away from the Democrats seems to just go all the way back to Biden not inviting him to the automakers conference during his term. The guy's ego is, and his masculinity, and that's the most important part, is so fragile. That's who you call girls. Because that's who it's important to, right? So there's a difference between, Arnold Schwarzenegger back in, I think it was 2000, or it might have been even 2004, calling the Republicans or the Democrats girly men. And I will call them girly men because that was just a generalized insult, that they're girly men. That's quite a bit different, though. That was also just kind of silly. I wouldn't lose your mind over it. That was quite a bit different than Elon and Trump calling them the girls, which is like we're fighting with one arm behind our back because we can seriously have these eloquent soliloquies of how right we are, filled with facts and figures, and then the other person's like, okay, R word. And then we just lose because there's as far as the audience that's still waiting to change their mind, like, boom, dominated. We're not winning anybody with this, like, oh my God, you called them girls? Get her out of the party. Of the things I would criticize AOC for, not even close to the top of the list. How often she gets close to being a leftist, but then goes a little bit moderate. That would be probably higher on the list for me. Probably a little higher. So with all of that in mind, let's review the girls fighting. I think I'm just going to read to you like tweets. I think that's this episode. You could call it the tweets episode. But chill out about this performative language nonsense. And it's also worth noting there's a good argument to be had at some point. I'm not going to do it because it's not my, well, I guess I'm doing it right now, but it's not the division of what I'm ever working on to be like, guys, come on, let's let people. But there is an interesting thing about how most of the people I know who are more careful with their language now, who are better about it, who have at least a sympathetic understanding, if not at times empathetic understanding of why that language is hurtful or whatever, that I have seen. It was my generation that had the like wild west of the internet, say everything, be a shock jock, say, I don't know if that's the right term for it, but say shocking, edgy things, be the edgelord, dead baby jokes, R words in every joke, say everything outrageous as possible. Then we refined down and went, well, that's insane. But it's funny because that's where most of the people who seem to have a good idea of what activism looks like performatively versus non-performatively, it seems to me that a lot of them come from that era where it was actually a little bit of the refinement of the Wild West and then the discomfort of finding out how you were hurting people and stuff that has really converted a lot of people to more progressive ways of talking. And I'll tell you, obviously, you can just say, well, you're from there, so you're just being a narcissist. And somebody on the internet's always going to say that, right? Because that's what they do. But I find them much less insufferable and more active as activists than I've always been right. Because I chose the right team early on, and I've just never been wrong. I find those people much more bearable. Let's talk about, after all of that, Jimmy, get off of your stupid soapbox. Wow, a white guy, a white cis het passing, not quite het, but het passing guy on the internet is complaining about the language he's going to get canceled for. Oh my God, guys. Can we stop the presses? Do the presses exist? It all began some time ago, a couple days ago. I'm just going to start with, I want to say it was Thursday it began. Elon. No, the spending bill tweet started a little bit before that. I'm going to say probably Wednesday. We'll just start there, whatever the timeline. Who even actually gives a shit about the specific days? But these will be the tweets sort of in order. Elon tweets out, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." I don't do a good Elon impression. I guess you could. I can't even do it. Sometimes I can, like, if I've freshly heard his voice, I can sort of get in there and work on the head bobs and the movements, but I have to put peanut butter in my mouth to really get it down. I can't really do it. Anyway, he also then messaged out, it will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to $2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt. Look, you all can disagree on or agree on whether or not the debt ceiling needs to be pushed, all those sorts of things. This isn't what we're really here for on this day. We can talk about those fiscal things another time. Were there a different package of things we were prioritizing? I don't think I would have a problem with going into more debt, but right now our priorities are garbage. And actually, if we would get our priorities in order, we could do an awful lot with just the amount of money we do take in each year. But our priorities suck. If we lowered everybody's healthcare costs by passing universal healthcare, which actually would be saving Americans money, not costing more. Then there was the response from Rand Paul agreeing with Elon. This is where you started to see there were people broadcasting that it wasn't going to go through the Senate so smoothly. And Trump jumps on Truth Social and shit talks Rand Paul. Rand Paul votes no on everything, but never has any practical or constructive ideas. His ideas are actually crazy, parentheses, losers. The people of Kentucky can't stand him. This is a big growth bill. Rand Paul has very little understanding of BBB, which is supposed to be Big Beautiful Bill. Funny because there was Build Back Better before, and I don't know if they're trying to just overwrite Build Back Better with another BBB, but the whole thing is dumb. The Big Beautiful Bill, we are simplifying things, don't even look at the bill. And it turns out if you look in the bill, it's a bunch of like nonsense. Like there are points that Elon has here that are correct. He's still kind of a garbage person, but I don't disagree with him entirely on the bill is a disaster. Any bill that he would also be more okay with will also be a disaster, though, mind you. This is the guy who, through Doge, cut like cancer research money and shut down USAID. USAID. I don't know why aren't we allowed to just say USAID? Why is everyone so careful to say USAID? I know it stands for stuff, but I'm going to be taking little gulps of my, this is plain, like, it's basically like if you took all the flavor and sweetness out of a Gatorade. It's just a type of sea salt in water. That's how I hydrate. To those who are listening and not watching, obviously I just took a gulp, but I'll make sure I'll get in close so you can hear the nice gulp sound. Anyway, talking shit about Rand Paul. Rand Paul doubles down, says he wants the tax cut to be permanent, but wants to see the $5 trillion in new debt removed from the bill, and that at least 4 people are going to side with him. By the way, there's other drama and stuff going on in the background, people I would love to hear from, but here we are. Trump tries to side with Elizabeth Warren. I'm very pleased to announce that after all of these years, I agree with Senator Elizabeth Warren on something. The debt limit should be entirely scrapped to prevent an economic catastrophe. I'm not doing my best, Trump. When Jimmy sends his impression, he's not sending his best. It's too devastating to be put in the hands of political people that may want to use it despite the Henry, blah, 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 blah. So basically, he's trying to use the idea and maybe see if he can peel off a couple of Democrat votes somewhere in the Senate. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. MAGA starts to take sides. This is, I'm mostly reading a review. Basically, the Heather Ashley, I don't know her very well, but she created this really great, I don't have Twitter, so I have to use these, I have to use screenshots on Threads. So the Heather Ashley on Threads is where I got this. I don't know. She could be great. She could be awful. I have no idea what she is. Looks like she's a true crime podcaster. That's great. So Elon Musk had put up 2 flags after that. And somebody responding to Fox News comments is a great place to understand conservative views since they get so much traffic. I was curious what the people were saying about Elon shit-talking the BBB, and I'm shocked. Almost every comment is in agreement with Elon. To see so many vehemently disagreeing with, and so that's 2, Elon had just put 2 American flags on that. That was actually something I noticed, not necessarily on Fox News, but I started going to like a lot of right-wing places on Reddit, on Facebook, I'm trying to remember where else I went, probably a couple of threads and stuff. It does seem to be most Republicans agree with Elon here. Elon posts, a new spending bill should be drafted that doesn't massively grow the deficit and increase the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. And then says, call your senator, call your congressman, bankrupting America is not okay, kill the bill. And then in response to some dude named Thomas, he's a representative, Thomas Massey, the big beautiful bill is a debt bomb ticking. It's also the biggest missed opportunity conservatives have ever had to put our country back on a track of fiscal sanity. And he wrote absolutely, which is weird because Representative Thomas Massey, someone can fact check me on this, but I'm almost positive did vote for the BBB before obviously the split up happened. All right. Elon also likes Thomas Massey's, it's insincere for Speaker Johnson to insinuate Elon Musk is against the big beautiful bill because it doesn't benefit his company specifically. Basically, there were accusations coming out from they circulate talking points. So certainly it's going to be in there, but it was implied by Speaker Johnson that that's why he doesn't like the bill, because there are things like the EV credits, for example, going away. So he's not going to personally benefit. Trump then jumps in. This is on the 5th. So this would be Thursday, saying Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do. And he just went crazy. That was in all caps. And then he writes, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. This was as things were getting a little bit more tense, as they were heating up. And now he's trying to like fire a shot across the bow of like, maybe you need to get back in line because you have billions of dollars on the line with us here. The line being, there's nothing to do with the line. Every time I say the line, I don't mean our channel, The Line. Or do I? No, we don't have billions of dollars at The Line. Elon Musk also responding to a meme, basically saying the suggestion of the meme is that Elon Musk was saving the government money with Doge, and Trump's big bill, like a train through a school bus, just slams through it and destroys all of that work. The funny thing being, Elon Musk didn't actually save much. There's actually been leaks this week from an old Doge employee that was like, yeah, so we went looking. There's not much fraud or waste. Like, these dollars are pretty much being spent correctly, and there's much less than they thought there would be, which even to those of us like myself who was against Doge, it was, the thing about Doge was that it seemed like with all of the perception we have of the government over the last many decades, it's like, yes, of course, if you go after, you're going to find some stuff, but you're going to try to cut all programs. You're going to try to cut billions to trillions of dollars, and then look at a small few $1 million of fraud. And it's like, see, look at all the fraud we got where it'll be such a minor percentage. And it's turned out they've had a hard time even finding that. It's kind of surprising how efficiently the dollars being spent are being used. Or maybe they're looking for fraud in the wrong place. Maybe we could just seize, I don't know, the assets of a president who is using his position in office to surge the price of a crypto coin and make himself an actual billionaire finally. because you have foreign governments pumping money into his coin, paying millions and millions of dollars in fees, but then also making the value of his portfolio go up when they want to carry favor. But, what do I know? That's just a speculation. Yeah, maybe you could do that. You had people like Kennedy speaking out. I don't know if you guys know John Kennedy. He is from Louisiana. He is one of the dumbest people and is a senator. Like, truly, if you're listening right now and you're like, I don't know if I could get into politics. I don't know if I have the brain for it. I don't know if I could keep track of stuff. I don't know if I'm smart enough to be in politics. John Kennedy is proof that you are. John Kennedy is, and Louis Gohmert for that matter. And obviously, Marjorie Taylor Greene, what's her face from the theater? I knew her name. I just wanted to bring up the theater again. Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert is who I'm making fun of. Let me go ahead and put that on silent. That was very unprofessional. And then Trump is having a conference with, I want to say, the Chancellor of Germany, and Elon's coming up. I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped him a lot. He knew the inner workings of the bill better than anybody sitting here. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden, he had a problem, and he only developed a problem when he found out we were going to cut the EV mandate, which is funny because you said the opposite stuff. He knew the bill really well and liked it until he found out what was in the bill and hated it. Like, you're kind of contradicting yourself there, guy. That's not really how any of that works. Elon posts an American flag on another Andy Ogles, who Andy Ogles definitely voted for the bill, by the way. Andy Ogles is basically saying, yes, let's do more cuts of the bill. It's big, but it's not beautiful yet. Let's have the Senate cut the bill up and before they send it back. Obviously, that wouldn't actually do the job, but whatever. Anyway, Elon then goes and he starts retweeting old tweets of Trump's, like from 2013 when he wrote, I cannot believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I'm a Republican and I'm embarrassed. And back in 2012 when he said, no member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced, deficits not allowed. So Trump basically showing that whatever's popular in that day, which keep in mind, 2013, 2012, who's in office? Obama. So it's very easy to be against deficits and not having your budget balanced when it's not your guys in office. And this is a thing you see happen every time. And while the hypocrisy exists on both sides, it is massively larger, the Republican hypocrisy when it comes to like all the things that and by the way, the next time a Democrat wins again, which will probably happen, the next time a Democrat wins again, it's going to be all like, but shouldn't you be bringing the country together now? Shouldn't you be looking to work? I know like over the last 4 or 8 or 100 years, you were, who knows how long we're going to get locked in with these freaks with the way that they're doing things. But I know that we actually like just would not work with you when we were in power, but shouldn't you now try to work with us? Shouldn't you try to be a unifying power now? And both sides do that and neither of them do it. But the amount of like shock to the system. My only hope is that next time we get like a truly progressive in, because in the past it was like, you can't rock the boat too much or you won't get reelected. And Donald Trump came in and took a shit on everything. And so now it's actually like, no, Americans like the idea of at least trying something to make their life better, that they will vote. If they just think things have to change, they'll vote for it, even if it sounds radical and fucking crazy. And so to some people, democratic socialism, for example, would sound, which I'm left of that even, but baby steps, people. To some people, that will sound crazy, but it will also be like, maybe it's crazy enough to work. If you just say things like, you shouldn't keep going into debt for healthcare. You should be able to afford to pay your bills if you work 40 hours a week. 40 hours might be also a little much, depending on what you're doing. It might be asking a lot. Because that's just a number someone came up with. You should have, in theory, if you slept 8 hours at night, that's 16 hours. Half of that should go to work. Half of that should go to, it's fucking. For people who are working for other people, I understand. If you work for a small company and you're like high up in the organization, or you have your own company, a lot of times you work a lot because you want to be there working. You're seeing the fruits of your labor. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here going, I'm looking to work 30 hours a week or whatever else. I've had to take a lot of time off for the last year, but before that, I routinely worked 100-hour weeks. But it's because it's It's your baby. It's your thing. It's kind of your life. And so it is different than asking somebody to make the job their life as opposed to choosing your job to be your life. And it's cool when you can find other people who are like that and partner up. But a lot of people are just trying to pay their fucking bills, and they should be able to do that with a reasonable amount of input, especially with just how fucking much money the rich have. Of all that pool of money that exists, of all the pool of resources and security that exists, the fact that they just have most of it and the rest of us fight over the scraps is crazy. Anyway, and then people bringing up Elon kind of pointing back to when everybody was so happy and loving together, and Trump was out there talking about how great the Tesla was, but also bringing up then that he had already ended the EV mandate and that was already happening. And Elon, he actually said, Elon never asked me for a thing. He's built a great company and he shouldn't. Basically that Elon was fine with the EV mandate going away because Elon didn't need it, was the idea there. By the way, some of this is going to sound like I'm on Elon's side, and I'd just like to restate, I hope they destroy each other. I hope they both go down hard. But one is actually the biggest existential threat is Donald, and then Elon is like pretty near second place. So do I want to give him the edge? Also, Donald just has such a stranglehold on so many. He's truly a cult leader, and the idea of unseating a cult leader. Now, will Elon try to pick that spot up? Yeah, I guess. But also, he literally can't ever be president because he's not a natural-born citizen of America. So the extent to the damage he can do is a bit limited. And to all the people saying J.D. Vance would be worse, you are dumb. That is a dumb thing to say. Stop saying dumb things. No, he would not. J.D. Vance can be successfully bullied. Donald Trump can't. He can be bought, but not bullied. Anyway, Elon had also posted, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and Senate. And the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Sorry, House and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. Then Elon also posts where's the man who wrote these words? Was he replaced by a body double? And it's just a bunch of like the same post from earlier, old words of Donald that he had said. Some memes start going out, and Elon asks, where is the Mike Johnson of 2023? Where he posts a tweet of Mike Johnson talking about how horrible the deficit is and that's not okay. And Marjorie Taylor Greene jumps in saying, I don't remember what this is. Kill the bill and release the Epstein files. What the fuck? And she just writes, now that's the real dilemma. Moving on, Stephen Miller, the worst person in the world. I'm trying to get to a specific tweet that goes out. Okay, we're getting close before we go to a quick break, and we'll come back after that break. The big one, the juicy one's coming. Marjorie Taylor Greene, her dumb tweet goes, Stephen Miller, who is the worst person in the world, and rumors are that, Stephen Miller's wife has gone to work for Elon Musk. Rumors are she left Stephen for Elon also, but I don't have confirmation of those rumors. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me at all, and it's also just funny to think about because genuinely Stephen Miller is like, Stephen Miller loves Trump so much, but is also like the fascist behind the scenes. He's the guy writing the most racist, most horrible policies. He is the worst little golem on Trump's shoulders. He wrote, the only new spending in the bill is to defend the homeland and deport the illegals, paid for by raising visa fees. All the other provisions, massive spending cuts. There's no pork in the bill, just campaign promises. And it just fails fact-checking so bad. You get Caroline Leavitt going out, trying to defend everything on Hannity. And just going real hard for Donald Trump always. And then Elon Musk, he tweets out and gets a little bit of support from Alex Jones. But Elon Musk tweets out, and we're going to go to a break. Let me start the ad break-in music here. We get the tweet from Elon Musk. Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Alex Jones gets on and responds, Trump needs to respond ASAP. I noticed he did not take questions at his public meeting today. Oh, things are getting spicy. Little spoiler alert as we go to the break. Today, on Saturday, that tweet's been taken down. That tweet got taken down today after being up a couple of days. And that is not a thing you can put back in the box, but it gets even more fun from there when we get back.
This episode is brought to you by the amazing people on patreon.com/calltheline, where you can get the show ad-free and you get the extended episodes where we do bonus shows, which is most of the time. Head over to patreon.com/calltheline and sign up today. Would you like to be one of the cool people who can prove they were supporting this podcast right from the beginning? Well, you can. Head over to linemerch.com. That's linemerch.com and pick up some founders merch for The Line as a podcast that will only be available for a short time and features the rough draft drawn logo that soon will be updated to look less like it was drawn by a 3-year-old. That's linemerch.com.
Welcome back. So, Alex Jones, when we come back, had supported or suggested he wants to hear the details from Elon Musk tweets dropping the really big bomb that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, and then that's why they've not been made public. Now, here's the thing, and I recognize that I don't like agreeing with Candace Owens on a lot of things, but this seems to imply that Elon has known this, has known his friend, his buddy, the person he's been working with for the last, however long it's been now. God, time just has gone crazy. I guess about a year, has known that he is a pedophile and has kept that to himself. Now, Elon may come out at some point and clarify, no, I just found this out. Maybe from Stephen Miller's wife, it was just confirmed for me. I know it's heard rumors, but who knows? We don't know. We don't know if that's what's been going on, but everybody else knew that Donald was in the Epstein files. Everyone else knew he was a good friend of Epstein. So it does seem like you're kind of saying, like, I'm bragging that I no longer will keep the secret that my boy here is a pedophile. Like, that's not a great look for you, Elon. Then again, when has he worried about many good looks? JD Vance goes on Theo Vaughn, super obfuscates. Definitely tries to brush off the idea that Trump was ever related to Epstein in any way. Ashley St. Clair, the former girlfriend or whatever she is, a baby mama of Elon Musk, says, hey, at Real Donald Trump, let me know if you need any breakup advice. And then, like I said, Candace Owens brings in, she had said Trump is implicated alongside a pedophile, and I knew it, but didn't care because we were friends. Is not the flex you think it is. That from Candace Owens. Again, she's another one of the worst people. Like her and Stephen Miller, send them to Mars together. Fuck those people. Absolutely terrible. Steve Bannon jumps into the chat and he's trying to get Elon deported. This also, at some point, Russia would offer Elon asylum or protection if he wanted to get out of there. Kanye at some point jumps in and says, no guy. I'm sure that'll come up as we scroll here. Elon Musk also says the replies to the whole Elon was wearing thin, I asked him to leave, says such an obvious lie, so sad. And Trump posts on Truth Social, I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago, which this is weird. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. If this bill doesn't pass, there will be a 68% tax increase and things far worse than that. I didn't create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. This puts this country on a path to greatness, make America great again. This is that bill that has the potential to knock tons of people off of Medicaid, by the way. Just so you know. Like, this is a harsh, evil bill. And by the way, Elon had also put on his big bomb to mark this post for the future. The truth will come out, which is ironic because, again, he has deleted that post for the future. Let's see. Laura Loomer tries to jump in. Donald Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. He is not on any Epstein list. If he was, he would have been indicted for it. Everyone knows that. And yet I'm sure if you ask Laura Loomer, like, oh, yeah. So like, you mean then Bill Clinton also wasn't, right? he wasn't on the Epstein. Well, but that's different because blah, blah, blah. Well, he wasn't indicted for it. So nobody's been indicted for being on the Epstein list except for Ghislaine Maxwell, who I understand, I think I saw today Alan Dershowitz is trying to get her a pardon from Donald Trump, which is wild. If you remember, Donald Trump, when hearing that she was put in prison, was like, I just wish her well. I wish her well, as though she wasn't a co-conspirator in like tons of rape and sex trafficking. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I got a little dyshydrotic eczema on my fingers in there. It's bugging me. It's bugging me. Anyway, David Schoen said, I was hired to lead Jeffrey Epstein's defense as his criminal lawyer 9 days before he died. He sought my advice for months before that. I can say authoritatively, unequivocally, and definitively that he has no information to hurt President Trump. I specifically asked him. Oh no, he wouldn't lie to his lawyer about it. He wouldn't be afraid to tell anybody about it. Look, let's just say you're right. Let's say that you're actually correct. And somehow, despite all of the evidence that Trump likes him young and thought Jeffrey Epstein was the man, let's say you turned out to somehow be correct. It wouldn't be because Epstein through you was a trustworthy source. There's plenty of good reasons why the most powerful man in the fucking world, right? 2016 to 2020 and now 2024 to 2028, they're the most powerful fucking man in the world. You maybe don't implicate him ever with anybody. Just dumb. Just absolutely dumb. Not to mention, like, who the fuck, like, David, for all we know, you're in Trump's fucking pocket, dude. Anyway, Roger Stone is the person who had posted that. Posted the quote from David Schoen, I think is how you say it. Peter Navarro comes out supporting it. Peter Navarro also sucks. He's like, Peter Navarro is just like old, bitter, dumb, and angry. He's like more of he emotionally wants to be a fascist. He hasn't thought his way into fascism the way Stephen Miller is. Stephen Miller, Peter Navarro has fascism in his heart, whereas Stephen Miller has fascism in his brain. Recognizing they're both in the brain, just different parts of the brain. Y'all get what I'm saying. I don't know why that's like specifically a thing Dillahunty would be pedantic about. No one has anything about it. Yeah, I know. I'm using the metaphor right now, Matt. Come. I know. Sometimes I will push when we're fucking around. I will sometimes push the specific buttons I know that annoy him, like that one. Anyway, Jesse Pelton, right, who's running this account, embarrassing U.S. generation, is finally growing after decades of stagnation. Nuclear hasn't kept up while wind and solar have continued to grow faster than demand. There's no way that the DOE doesn't know this, and Elon just joins in and reposts it so that they can start shooting, I guess, like making people mad at the Department of Energy out of nowhere. And then a guy named Adam, just some random dude, talks about how Elon should get involved in primaries to push moderate Republicans and how much cheaper it would be and how much return on investment he would get. And Elon just writes, okay, in response to that. Let's see what else happened. Kash Patel claims there are no videos on children being sexually assaulted on Epstein's Islands days after Pam Bondi told us that the FBI had thousands of hours of videos of children being sexually assaulted by Epstein and his clients. So that's weird. Kash Patel, who I think we all assumed was there to clean things up and be the be an extension of Trump's arm and weaponize the FBI. But it's not like they did something crazy like make his second in command Dan Bongino. Oh yeah, they did exactly that. And then Elon had posted today, I think it was, the most entertaining outcome is most likely. That was actually moments ago, within the hour of this thing. I don't know what to make of the fact that like Elon has taken down the tweets about the pedophilia, but also talked about the most entertaining outcome is most likely. I guess I would need to go back and see what time Elon was also doing the emoji on the thing about Kash Patel claiming there's no videos. There's just a lot of stuff. And you know what? Even this comprehensive thread is probably missing so much. But here's what the deal is. At the end of the day, this is a moment of disillusionment for at least a pretty good group of people, because you're going to be disillusioned with the Republicans overall. If you are sitting and going, if truly Elon Musk is the American dream to the Republicans, right? Like that is the pinnacle of you can come from, we're going to pretend you used to be poor and you fought the odds of poor and you rose through the ranks of society and you know, this African-American entrepreneur, because they like to remind people that he's technically from, you know, South Africa, which what could be nefarious or weird about that? Don't ask where his dad got his money. I'm going to take another little sippy sip. It was more like a gulpy gulp. At the end of the day, this should disillusion more people and make more people just tired of all the shit. At least that's the hope, that it's like, all of this is, first of all, predictable. We could all see it coming. But then again, that hasn't armed anybody well in the last several years, because a lot about what has happened is predictable. For example, the loss of Kamala Harris to Donald Trump was predictable. I know I predicted it, and my map was super fucking close to accurate. I missed 2 states. What was it? Was it Wisconsin and Arizona were the only 2 I missed. I'm still surprised that they went. I like bragging about that one. I know it's unbecoming, but I still haven't seen a person with a better map than me. Still haven't seen. Now I will say the thing I was wrong on, Trump getting the popular vote is crazy. People also posting though that Elon is basically admitting that he rigged the election. That none of that is true. None of that is true. And the things about the machines in Pennsylvania, the things that he said, I can see how you can try to twist it to, but no, Donald Trump won. It's unfortunate, but it's true, because the Democrats are stupid. Like the number one, look, and I know people have tried to roast me because, yeah, of course, I'm still upset with the people who are leftists who didn't vote for Kamala Harris over Palestine. Of course, I'm still mad about that, but they're not even the like 5th. They're like pretty low on the list of whose fault it is. It's the Democrats' fault. A year before the whole thing was happening, I was talking about, y'all, the fucking demographic polling is shifting, and that's a problem. Like, y'all want to look at just general election shifting and want to have a thing in the margins. That's crazy. This guy got rid of Roe v. Wade. There's so many things at stake. And y'all are thinking like, oh, but we're edging him out. Y'all are fucking stupid. And right now, demographics are shifting to Republicans that have not traditionally shifted. We are looking at a bloodbath coming. And they're like, all right, well, why don't we just wait way too long to finally dump Biden, not have a competitive primary, and then see if we can get the entire United States to make a ginormous progressive jump that unfortunately internalized racism and sexism probably is still not going to be ready for quite a while, and maybe set back even further. The odds of a woman of color now winning presidency anytime soon may have actually been put down, because it happened. It was too quick, and they were too untrustworthy. They just were. And I'll tell you, I actually just read Jake Tapper's book that sometimes when the media gets super loud about how you should feel about a book, including people I like Jon Stewart, when they kind of tell you how the book they haven't read should make you feel, I'll often go read it just to see if I feel that way. And I will tell you, I wonder if Jon Stewart, for example, or some of the others, people who I respected their opinion on things like that, Jimmy Kimmel was another one, if they're going to go ahead and read it, because they should. Because it's not just, people think it was Jon Stewart being like, and now I'm becoming MAGA myself. There is so much important information about the cover-up and about things that Democrats need to look at and go, this is why people don't fucking trust you or like you. And you need to take note of these things and improve and get better and not be this fucking way. Why are you this way? Stop being this way, for the love of Christ. The cover up and how much was going on that fucked us all over and put us with a losing ticket. So right now we're sitting here and we can predict what's going to happen next. A lot of things about it. This is going to cause tremendous division amongst the Republicans. And look, the Democrats are probably going to get some gains in the midterm elections, because I don't know how you put any of this back in Pandora's box. I don't see Elon and Trump having a true reconciliation. Even if they short-term do it, it'll be until the next one. These two egos are massive. And how do you go? Trump is calling, according to the Washington Post, I think it was today, that Trump on calls was already calling Elon a drug addict behind the scenes. So Trump's telling important people, maybe not the public, but saying to important people, important in their sphere. I think the public is actually more important, but in their sphere, important people to Elon that he's a drug addict. And Elon told the world that Trump's a pedophile. I don't know how you put that back in the box and be like, we were just having a little bit of fun. You know, brothers, they fight, and sometimes it gets real nasty. It gets so gross. Oh, God, what if that is the way they're going to do it? What if they're just going to be like, guys, we're just brothers. We're brothers who, I don't know. I don't know how you put that back in the box. But I know that whatever blessing we're getting right now, the Democrats will fuck it up. And if anything, I could see, I was thinking about this as soon as it was happening. I was thinking, I wonder if Gavin Newsom, who I think Gavin Newsom cosplays a moderate, is actually probably pretty progressive, but is a little bit of a political scumbag, as so many of them are, where it's like, I'm going to play the hits that get me closer. And so I think that even his throwing trans people under the bus was a math problem that he did recently, where he was like, I'm going to get more votes this way. I'm going to start moving people this way. And at some point, these people who are mad at me for moving this way, they will forgive me. That's why I'm going to put a lot of time. I'm going to start this podcast right away. I'm going to put a lot of time, and I'm going to start appealing to the right-wing voters, bring them over. I'm going to play moderate, but I think he is probably in practice a more progressive person. And that's probably who our 2028 candidate is. Like, I know it's very early to make that call, but that probably is who it is. Meanwhile, if the Democrats were smart, they'd be putting out huge, like right now there's a whole, who's the leader? Who's our leader? Oh my God, who is it? And the only people coalition building right now are people like Bernie Sanders and AOC. And to some degree, I'm glad that is happening, because they may be able to push whoever the candidate is to the left, even as they push AOC and Bernie out of the primaries if one of them is going to run for president, or if they're planning to get behind somebody for president. But they may be able to ideologically move people to the left. And we just need way, way more of that. And they need to be going out and actually testing those messages and be like, hey, by the way, have you noticed that groceries are still expensive as fuck? Is that bugging you guys? Is that bugging you guys? Hey, would that be easier to handle if you didn't have your healthcare costs like you do right now? If maybe you didn't even pay an insurance premium, your taxes might go up, a little bit, tiny bit, but way less than the cost of your premiums going down and the cost of your co-pays going away and all that stuff. What would you guys think of a solution like that? What if we were putting literally thousands of dollars a year back in your pocket? Would that help out with the groceries? Would that help out with the rent? Instead, they're just they're just going to sit back and watch it happen. And I can imagine, why I was bringing up Gavin Newsom probably. I just think he probably is the kind of scummy guy who was like, Elon, let's get on a phone call. Let's start talking. Look, they're turning their back on you. You and I are going to have differences, blah, 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 blah. And that he's going to try to bridge build with Elon to get Elon on his side for 2028 and start to grow that commitment, plant that seed and grow that commitment now. Politically, it might be a very good move. It might be very smart. But it is going to mean ideologically, this country is going to still be fucked and beholden to billionaires. We're not getting anywhere closer. So unless it turns out Gavin Newsom's like, I'm just going to play this guy, I'm going to use this guy, I'm going to get in, and then I'm going to overturn Citizens United. I'm going to do all this kind of stuff, and I'm going to fuck up the billionaires. I'm going to make Elon hate me more than Trump hates him right now. I just don't see Gavin Newsom actually. I think the dude, like so many politicians, is one of those narcissists who's just addicted to the power. Absolutely hooked on it. And unfortunately, that's probably our 2028 candidate. I don't think, again, long shot, long time prediction here. I don't even think we'll run a person of color as the head of the ticket. Second, you might get a person of color. But I think it'll either be a man of color or a white woman will be the vice president ticket on the vice president. But it's going to be fundamentally a white man, probably not as old. Well, certainly not as old as fucking Biden. He's not going to be pushing 90. But probably still older. Probably still, I'd say Gen X. Probably a Gen Xer. I very much doubt you're going to get even an older millennial. Pete Buttigieg is not going to be. They're not going to. I don't even think they go. Pete Buttigieg, despite showing how capable he is, not being progressive enough for my liking, but a very capable guy. Certainly not leftist enough for my liking. Very capable. They're just not going to take those risks next time. I just don't think so. I don't think maybe as VP, maybe white gay guy as VP. You could see a Newsom Buttigieg, but I think Newsom knows right now too. Like, I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm in a pretty good spot because they need a cishet white guy who can play very well to a lot of the people who aren't those things, who's handsome, because he is, who's a good looking contender to whatever garbage is coming next. And we don't even know what garbage is coming next. That's what's kind of depressing and scary. We don't know what the garbage we are in store for is. Is it JD Vance? Is it Stephen fucking Miller? Is it another Trump? Do they try to continue the Trump train? I will say I don't think Trump's going to pull off running for a third term like a lot of people are like. It's just going to be him. He's going to... I'm not even convinced the guy will be naturally alive by the end of his term, let alone anything else. Anyway, this has been The Line is a Podcast. Patreon.com/calltheline. No bonus show today because I don't know what I would even do without a friend to do it with. But it's been great talking to you all. We'll see you soon.